Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video, this is a hobby video. This is one of the first ones I've done like this, but for those of you that watched Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core, I promised you that I would teach you how to magnetize my aliens' tails, and I have done so. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do that, and I'm going to go through all the different things you're going to need for this. Now, of course, you can substitute some of your own stuff, depending upon where you're at. If you don't have access to these particular magnets or this particular thing or that particular thing, you can use whatever you want to use, of course, for your hobby needs. But for those of you that aren't familiar with this or have not done anything like this in the past, I'm going to go through all the different things that I've used for this. And I'm going to show you two different versions of this. I'm going to have a top-down so you can kind of see the overall look of it, and then I'll try to get in really nice and close with my macro lens and show you a really up-close version of this so you can kind of see exactly what's going on with it. So as always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button, subscribe to my channel. So these ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow and be able to produce content like this. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you like this, if you found this video helpful, if you would like some more of these kind of videos. Now, this isn't something I'm going to do all the time, as I just don't do a lot of these projects anymore. But let me know in the comments down below if there's other projects you would like me to see, if there's other things that kind of come up that you would be interested in me covering. I'm always interested to hear from you and have any kind of requests that you guys might want to watch. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and head to the table and I'll show you how to do this. All right, so first let's go over what you're going to need for this particular project. First off, of course, you're going to need some of the models for this, and I also have cleaned the mold lines off of these. You don't have to do this unless you're really intending to paint them, but for those of you that are going to paint them, it is also very nice to do that so that you don't have a bunch of mold lines showing off. From there, then, the other stuff that you're going to need for this, a paper clip to hold and move around your magnets. You're also going to want a non-metallic or non-metal piece that you can use to push them around with. A old sprue works great for this, and this is from the Twilight Night. For those of you familiar with Kingdom Death, that is from that. And then you're going to need a pin vise, and these come in a lot of different fashions. This one is not that great. I will hopefully at some point get a better one, but it will work for now. And this basically is just going to hold a drill bit for you and let you manually maneuver it. And then you'll need a drill bit. You're also going to need an X-Acto knife with an 11 blade on it. Make sure it's still sharp and be careful with these. And a mat that you're going to use for that, as well as a Sharpie. You'll want some paper towels, and you're going to need some glue. So I use this particular glue, and it's the extra thick version of it. Now, don't worry about this. There's a lot of hobby shops that sell this, so they have their own little stickers that they'll put on for each one of those. But or you can use another type of super glue or glue that you prefer. Then the magnets, of course. So again, these come in a lot of different forms. This is a rare earth magnet, is which ones that I would recommend. And these particular ones, their size is, this comes with 200 disc magnets. Their diameter is 0.063 or 1.6 millimeters. And their length is 0.031, which is 0.8 millimeters. So just in case you don't have access to this particular brand or whatnot, that is the sizes that I'm using. You don't have to use this size, but you can if you'd like to. So then you'll just take out a small selection of those. As you can see, they are super tiny, and you're pretty much ready to go from there. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so from here, I'm going to do it in two different ways. I'm going to show you this top down first with one of the models, and then I'll do a side angle close up with another one so you can kind of get in real close and see exactly what I'm doing with this, because I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this on this little bit farther view. So each one of your alien models is going to have a spot for it that the tail is supposed to go into normally. So that's where I'm going to use that. And you don't necessarily have to drill into that anymore if you don't want to. As you can see here with this one, it's pretty much flush. You can drill a little bit just to make it a little easier, because some of the models did have it sticking out just a touch, which isn't a big deal for me because I'm going to hopefully at some point paint these. And so that'll all be covered up with paint. But if you're not going to paint these, and you maybe want the bits hidden, the magnets hidden a little bit, you can just drill in here a little bit and just remove just a touch of the material that's in there. And that way then the magnet will sit in there good. And you can just grab your magnets and kind of test it by placing it in, and then you can kind of see where it's going to fall within there. So that's pretty good with that one. With this one, again, you can check this beforehand, so you can kind of see this one needs just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And you want to hold the pin vise so that the magnet's going straight in. If you're up here or down there, whatever, it's going to give you a different angle, unless that's what you're looking for. Depending upon if you want a particular tail to be in a certain position, you may want to drill in a different direction. All right, so next then, let's go ahead and get over to the tails themselves. So with these, you want a flat edge to these. So in order to do that, you're simply going to take your X-Acto knife. Now, I've done this for years, and you want to be very, very careful with these. Of course, these are very, very sharp, and otherwise, if you're not familiar with using an X-Acto knife or a sharp blade, do not do this with your fingers so close. I've done this for many, many years with hundreds and probably thousands of different models, so I know exactly how much pressure to put on this and how to brace this, as I'm going to use my fingers as braces so that I can clean this off. And you're looking to just get a flat edge on this. Okay, now once you get a flat edge, then you can go ahead and try to find as close as you can to the center and just kind of move it back and forth. That way you have a starting point for your bit. So from there, then you're going to add the hole. So you're going to go ahead and place that in there so that it lines up. And you're going to just start drilling that out. Maybe, if I can get it in there at the spot. Nope, didn't get the hole good enough. So let's go ahead and add that in there a little bit more. Okay, let's try it now. Okay. Looks good. All right, so then you're going to just start working it in so that you can start making a good hole for that. Like I said, I'm going to get a nice close-up of this as well. So this is just to kind of show you from a distance what we're trying to do. And then again, I will get in nice and close so you can see exactly how this works. And then as you're doing that, you want to check and kind of see where you're at. So not yet. Okay. So then if you pop it off, now you can kind of see that it's pretty much flush with that. And that way then you know how far in your magnet's going to go. And then from there, then we're ready to move on to the next step. So with this, the next thing that I would recommend doing is with your magnets, you want to mark one of the ends with your Sharpie. That way you always know the direction that your magnet is going, and that is important so that you make sure that your magnets actually work and you're not going to get them polar opposites pushing away and not holding your tail in there. And so what we want to do is have the black ends inside of the alien's butt. So from here, then we're going to go ahead and grab some glue. And this is where the paper clip's going to come in so that you have a spot that you can hold that into for the time being. Now you're going to want to drop that in by hand and then manipulate it with this, because otherwise if you use the paper clip, every time you push it in, it's going to come right back out because the glue's not going to hold all that good until it sits for a little bit. And then if you keep it on, then you're going to glue your paper clip to your magnet. So let's go ahead and start with this. Okay, you don't want a whole bunch in there. And then from there, again, you want to make sure that your end that you marked is going to be that end. And actually, speaking of which, before we do that, as soon as you pull that off, so let's go ahead and set that over here, you want to mark the next one so that you don't get confused on which end is which. So, all right, so then we're going to go ahead and drop this in. And of course, every time I do this, it always falls in the wrong direction. All right, and it did again. All right, so then you want to kind of manipulate that so that it rotates in there. and push it in there. All right. From there, then you're just going to let that sit. And I would recommend doing it separate and not doing this and the tail at the same time, because once this sets, then you're going to again double check to make sure that you have marked the correct end and that you are also going to be putting it on the right way. So I'll get to that in a little bit. So from here, then I'm going to go ahead and get up close and we're going to cover this nice and close. All right, so here we go again with the up close version of this. Now this is a little trickier for me because I'm using a macro lens, so you're going to have to bear with me with this. But again, we're going to check to make sure that this is going to fit into our alien. So we're just going to kind of double check. So not too bad. That looks pretty good, I think. So from there, then we're going to clean off this other tail. So again, I'm going to go ahead and position this. And again, we're gonna all right, so that looks pretty good there. So then we're going to find the center point again in there, roughly about there, and then just make a little hole for our drill bit, as you can see. Okay, so it's still coming along there. Okay. So let's try this out real quick. So we're going to try to get that magnet in there just to kind of see where we're at with this one. So we still got a little bit of work to do yet. All right, so then we're gonna try to get it in there. And then once it's in there, double check to make sure that it's pretty good. So not too bad. So I think that's good. So then we'll go ahead and take that out and we're ready to glue. All right, so next we're gonna glue. So we're just gonna place a little bit in there. Don't do too much. That should be good. And then you're gonna want to grab your magnet. Again, make sure that you mark it with the Sharpie. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab that. And again, you have to choose which side you're going to want to have go down. So let's see here. And I probably messed that up again. So I'm going to have the side with the Sharpie down. And there we go. Now going back to our previous example, now we are going to go ahead and glue the tail. So we haven't placed a magnet on there yet, but we want to kind of test out and make sure which the tails we want to add. So we'll go ahead and do that one there and have it something like that. So from here, then we're going to glue the tail. In order to do this, again, you're going to grab your magnets, and before you glue the tail, again, you want to make sure that your magnet is lining up with the other part of that. All right, so now we know that that's going to stick, and so we're going to mark this side again with the Sharpie, and from there, we want to grab that paper clip and stick that on there so that that side is the side that is going to be outside of the tail. So once we put it in there, then the tail will be good. All right, so then we're going to grab some glue. All right, once it's good and in there, then you can wipe off the rests if you had any glue that got off of that, and make sure that it's in there the way you want it to be. And that's your tail. And you can just do that with all of them. And again, make sure that if as long as the magnets are all going in the same direction, then you don't have to worry about which tail goes to which alien. Well, I hope you found this helpful. As always, again, if you found the video helpful, go ahead and hit that button to like and subscribe. And let me know again in the comments down below if you found this interesting or helpful, if you ended up doing this yourself, or if you plan to. And as always, if you have any other requests, let me know. And until next time, I'll see you later.